It was just a few rounds ago that the Full Send Sims SMX Series reached the halfway point of their 2025 season. But now we hit round number 10, the 2/3 mark of the 2025 season, and we're heading back to a home track for many here in this region, Homestead-Miami Speedway, and the road course with the high-speed turns 3 and 4 on the bank's curves, which lead to high-speed front straightaway action, close finishes, and about 20 cars will take the race tonight in two 25-minute events. Kyle Heyer joined by Finian DeCuna tonight as Greg Creamer is out, but Finian, welcome aboard. Good to have you back here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Always a pleasure to be here on the high banks. Similar to Daytona, this place is super fast. The draft is going to be a big topic of discussion, and we don't have this part here, that cut into the infield on the last couple of corners. We're on the high-speed banking in NASCAR 3 and 4. That totally changes the dynamic around this track.
Yeah, absolutely, and glad to be back with the series. As always, I love filling in when either you or Greg are off the table to do these events, because racing the series is absolutely fantastic. And like you mentioned, this race absolutely becomes a lot more like Daytona when you remove, especially when you remove that infield section part in the later part of the lap, because everyone's just going to be able to follow in single file and use that slipstream. You're going to see a lot of maneuvers heading off into turn 1. Yeah, and the field tonight is relatively lean in comparison to what we normally have. And again, we're sort of at a trailing point in the season where the drivers that are with us every week, sometimes they have to sort of make concessions as we get sort of into the holiday season as well. So no real surprises there, but you'll note that Morgan Burkhardt is here on the timing and scoring. So is Camden Hibbett, so is Beans Forster. And that is most of the front runners in our championship. Camden Hibbett leads by 57 points over Beans. Then it's Nicholas Rice-Puto and then Morgan Burkhardt. Rice-Puto is also here as well. So despite the entry list being a smidge under 20 drivers, Finian, we do have the primary operators in our championship, and that also includes 5th place Hayden Manis. So it's going to be a fun fight tonight, but anytime you come to these big rovals, it's the draft, it's the strategy around it that makes these races so intriguing. Yeah, absolutely, because we've always talked about it, and I'm sure you talked about it many times this season. When it comes to very draft-reliant tracks, it basically becomes a high-speed game of chess, because yes, you can always use a slipstream and make them maneuver, but when you're in a pack, and what we're most likely going to see is these guys end up being in a pack, is when do you make them maneuver, where do you want to position yourself, especially heading into the last couple laps, because it's going to be a lot of riding around for the first couple minutes of these races, and then towards the end, that's when the chaos ignites, if it hasn't already. Yeah, there's Nicholas Rice-Puto, has yet to put a lap on the board here in the 0-3, and his season so far, he jumped up a spot in the championship standings because he had 2 podiums last time out at Sebring. That was a 2nd and a 3rd there, and the last 4 finishes have been a 2nd or a 3rd. And then his rounds at Sonoma and Road America, not so great there. A 13th at Road America, race 1 rather, a 27th in the 2nd race. So Rice-Puto had a little bit of trouble a few rounds back. That's kept him out of the championship lead. But notably, of his season, only 1 win. So to move his way forward, the goal is clear. Just get more W's. That's easier said than done, though. And it has been lean for Rice-Puto, definitely, with that single win. But it's been even leaner. I don't even know if you could say it's really leaner. It's non-existent for Beans Forster, because he's got 0 wins, which I'm actually kind of surprised to look at here. But the main thing is that he is 2nd place in the championship, and that's purely because he's been very consistent with 11 top 5s and 14 top 10s. So he's been very consistently up near the front. Unfortunately, not consistently in the wins column, but he is currently the quickest driver in qualifying, so looking to see if he can right the ship that way. And so far, not necessarily, not by a whole lot, because he's only 10,000ths of a second faster than Camden Hibbett. Yeah, and Morgan Burkhardt's got a nice big slipstream behind him as well. Morgan with a successful campaign in the Michelin Pilot Challenge Series this year in GT4 machinery, running a very similar livery to that car on his number 67. You'll note there's a couple Porsche badges here and there on this machine as well, but out of turn 4, NASCAR turn 4, we'll call it, up onto the front stretch, he'll use that slipstream. This should be in the green that time, and it's a 133.181. That will actually put him 3rd now, right behind Hibbett by 83 thousandths. Getting close up there near the top, and also want to mention, too, for Beans Forrester, if he can hang on, this will be his first pole of the season as well. So could be a first pole, could be a first win if he can hang on, but he has reset down to pit lane. We'll see if he gets back out to finish another lap. See, Morgan Burkhardt was out there for a little bit. But actually top 5 drivers are all hanging out on pit road, not waiting to go just yet. Yeah, maybe they'll go out one last time, but it's really tight right now. The top 5 basically within a 1/10 of a second.
and then it's just thousandths or hundredths between everybody else from there on back. Budo's out there all by himself right now, separate from the rest of the leaders, but is chasing the 152 of Austin Duran. I think that's a new name in this championship here, and already in the top 10 on debut. That's a pretty strong start, I have to say.
Definitely great showing so far. Couple tenths back from Trace Hans if he wants to try to advance that position, but he's currently sitting second driver in this queue. Directly ahead of him is Deacon Greenfield, so he's getting the toe off the number 20 machine. Duran, we'll see if he can advance even higher.
Duran running the FCP Euro colors on the side of that car, which is an interesting logo to see on the side of an MX-5. But again, that company based out of the Northeast in Connecticut. Seen that all over the grassroots world, in grid life and beyond, but good to have Austin joining us tonight. As you mentioned, right behind Trace Hansen and James Newell, another driver that's tied for 5th in the championship standings with the Hayden Manis, number 65. And for Newell, a pretty strong round at Sebring, 2 top 5s. The only other time he did that was Road America, where he got podium twice, P3 in both of those races. So clawing his way up the order, but Manis is out qualifying him right now. You see him there in that 65 car.
Yeah, qualifying, and you can see these guys doing the F1 strat of, I do not want to lead this pack, so I'm going to put around here at a very slow pace.
Yeah, so the last time that we did this configuration, it's been a season or 3. We've done the configuration with the infield section in the last few corners a handful of times, but this larger, faster configuration, I'm curious to see how the drafting plays out in the races, because you and I were talking before this broadcast started that while they added the roof of this car, I can't confirm that they've changed anything about this as far as the drag numbers, but eyeballs would tell me that this car races much differently than it used to. So that little revamp might change the strategy about how you approach that last corner when you pop out of line.
You see Hayden has had to take a piece of action, avoiding, I think that might have been Seth Spoolman that was around out of turn 2. He's reset down a pit lane.
Yeah, there's Spoolman there. Let's see how he got himself off kilter. Was following the 123 of Newell. And this turn 1 entry, this will be a topic all night long. This fast left-hand kink. And turns in, and I think he might have had, just got in there a little hot. You see him bail out. Oh, he blew the motor too.
See, I thought I heard a motor explosion sound, but I thought I was just hearing things, but that seemed to be the case there.
Yep, no,
downshift a little bit too hard.
It's pretty common
money shift
at this racetrack. We see that a lot because there's a number of sort of heavy braking zones leading into, to quote Southpaw Racer, second gear hairpins. So when you get down to these slow corners, it's very easy to over-rev these engines, and Budo goes around for a spin. P6, I think, is all he's going to manage. He has time maybe for one more lap if he resets.
Yeah, it's got to get out there, and I believe, oh no, they won't. I was just double checking to see if they will be able to finish it.
No.
But we're running the heat, so as soon as timer hits 0, they're done.
Yeah, that's one of the conditions of running this multi-race format is you don't get the end of qualifying. Once the checkered falls, it's immediately the end of the session. Sawyer Richards in the 125. This livery is very SMX. If you've ever watched this series in the real world, and sort of the two-tone body and roof, this car fits in very well with the SMS aesthetic. And P11 at the moment, just a tenth and a half behind Jose de las Casas, which I believe is a local driver here. So he'll have some course knowledge, and it's put him up inside the top 10.
Yeah, it seems to be satisfied with that. Doesn't look like he's getting back out there to qualify. And even, again, top 4, very satisfied for the most part, it seems. I'm kind of surprised, especially Camden Hibbett. He's on his phone. He's 10 thousandths away from first place. If I was him, I would get back out there. Well, you see, he's calm and collected. He's on his phone, 82 beats per minute on the heart rate.
I think he knows that, at the moment, that 10 thousandths isn't really going to matter a whole lot once the green drops. Going into turn 1 side by side. I think as long as you're P3 or better going into the last corner, I think he'll have a good spot. So heart rate picking up a little bit as we get a little closer. We saw him up in the 120s, I think, a couple weeks ago, which is the highest we've ever seen that hummingbird tick. But getting a swig of water before he goes. Carson Neal up to 4th place. And see him pop in there on the pit lane. Another driver that the last couple of rounds, seems like he's been in a better spot. But 6th and 2nd at Sebring. He still lost a position, had a tough round at both Mid-Ohio and Summit Point. Best finish at 10th there, but has been on the podium back at Sonoma, Sebring race 2, as well as the opening round at Watkins Glen. Oh, and Camden's giving us a wave there.
And I was going to say, Hayden Manis is out on the track. Not necessarily sure he's going to be able to improve because he's out by himself. And he did also have a big off track, so that's going to be the end of his run.
So when the green drops here, 2 20-minute races back to back. And race 2 is gridded by the finishing order of race 1. And we kind of get to a turning point in the season now, because this will be the final sprint to the finish here. Again, the next handful of races, we're looking at... pull up the schedule here. We're off to Barber next week, which will be an interesting event for sure. Then Circuit of the Americas West, followed by the full course at Sebring, the Chicago Street Course on December 2nd, and we'll finish things off on December 9th at the Mount Panorama Circuit in Bathurst. So pretty excited to see how that plays out. Greg Kramer and I
see how that plays out.
Yeah, had a little fun with the track selection process there. Beans Forrester will be on pole, and the top 12 had thrown in the towel on qualifying. Maximum laps, Sawyer Richards, James Newell did 8. Most of the rest of the drivers did 4 or 5. And with the checkered flag out, we'll take a moment to thank a couple of the partners and people that make this all happen. Of course, Full Send Sims. Now, Court can't be here tonight because of a family matter, but wishing to have him back here next week. But Full Send Sims and Court Schmidt. Practice makes podium, and Court builds these amazing simulators at his Florida facility. Comes from a background of military simulator creation, so he pays just intense detail to everything when he's building a simulator for you. Full Send Sims, truly the best in the business, and make sure you check them out. Of course, fully supporting this league and this series. 3P Logistics and Frank Rodriguez, the trackside support services, all inclusive, so give them a check. They've been one of our longest supporters, as well as Final Turn Motorsports, who have a great product as well and help put on these events by their support. FARA, of course, hosting racing all over the country. They've expanded in recent years, but they have come on to support us here, as well as Sabelt and Wine Country Motorsports. They answer the phone when the online retailers do not. So with that out of the way, we'll head down to the racetrack here and get our grid underway. We had a late join. That was Joshua Soto. No time to qualify, but he'll start at the tail of the field. And with that, let's run through the starting lineup and work our way through it. It's Beans Forster on provisional pole here. Camden Hibbett will start alongside him in the 132. Then it's Morgan Burkhardt and Carson Neal-Finian in that second row.
And moving on back in 5th place, Hayden Mann is lined up in the 65 machine. Next to him in 6th, it'll be Nick Sputo in the 03. Back in 7th, the 123, James Newell in 7th with Trace Hans next to him in the 53 and 8th.
And Austin Duran, a new driver joining us tonight, will roll off in 9th place in the 152. That's that blue FCP Euro car. Jose de las Casas starts in 10th in the number 717. Sawyer Richards rolls off 11th alongside Nate Himmelsbach in 12th. Then Deacon Greenfield and Dylan Lee share row number 7. Seth Spullman and Wayne Buttermore will be in row number 8. That is 15th and 16th place. Last couple of rows be Bob Mueller Jr., Jim Friedhofer, and Joshua Soto. Looks like a new paint package on Bob Mueller's car. Looking pretty spicy there. So that out of the way, let's have a look at our weather information, and it is a moderate day here. 82 degrees in the air, 100 on the track temp, so you just got to watch that sliding around on the tires. Benny, a 20-minute race, enough time to beat up your tires, but you're not going to wear them out necessarily. You just got to keep the heat from getting out of control.
And that's going to be the big thing. And I don't really think, actually I was going to say I don't really think these guys should be spinning their tires, but we did see in practice, I think it was Bryce Buda that had a hard time getting out of one of those many second gear hairpins. Yes. Heading onto the back straightaway. So it definitely could be up in the air. And I think definitely you also do just the shifting in general, downshifting, coming into turn 1, downshifting all the way. Got to make sure you don't blow that motor. We saw it in practice, starting qualifying. Definitely might be able to see in the race, especially when everyone's on edge. You make that money shift and your day is done.
Other onboards we have include Deacon Greenfield, who rolls off in 13th place, giving us his perspective from his home sim rig. And Carson Neal will also give us his perspective. He will roll off in 4th place. Get those tires warmed up. 20 minutes is about 13 laps here. Finian, keys of success at Homestead-Miami. What do we have?
Like I mentioned before, again, making sure you get the shifting down from high speed to low speed, back up to high speed, make sure you hit your shifts. Miss it on the straightaways, you're going to be losing a lot of time there. And then another big thing, too, is just watching the chaos down to turn one. The high-speed kink heading down into there. We were joking before, the AI and iRacing can absolutely not handle and go flipping end over end heading down into there. Don't think this guy's going to go flipping down there, but it's definitely going to get tight.
Yeah, then this hairpin, this is a really great passing opportunity as you head down into this corner. It is turn number 8 that will spit you back out onto the backstretch. In the last couple of corners, we just call them NASCAR 3 and 4. Easier to recognize by that corner number rather than 9 or 10 or 11 or whatever you want to call them in this configuration. I'm always a fan of configs that where the corner numbers stay the same across different layouts. So that's why I consider Watkins Glen an 11-turn course, whether you're on the short course or the long course. Bus stop doesn't count. Or maybe it does. I forget.
Whichever you prefer.
Oh, it doesn't count on the boot, but on the short course I count it. It adds up to 4 turns, which makes up for 6, 7, 8, 9. So yes. So then your total's the same. That's my logic anyway. All right, time to go racing here for the Full Send Sims SMX Series, round number 10. We have 2 races, 20 minutes long. It's Beans Forster on the front row. Beans comes in 57 points behind the driver that starts to his outside, Camden Hibbett, in the 132. Camden so far this season has won 6 races, Beans 0. And time to roll here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Green flag, and we're underway here in the FSS SMX Series. And already look at the 65 of Manis. He's 3 abreast on the inside of Morgan Burkhardt, and it's always a tight squeeze here into the first turn.
Looks like for the most part they're going to make it on through, heading to the first major braking zone. A couple drivers heading up and over the curves, but it looks like everyone's going to make it through as they head into the infield section for the first time. Yeah,
Camden's going to have a preferred line here as they navigate onto the backstretch. That will put him out ahead of Beans Forster, but nice, tidy, orderly start. And Beans will have the run down to 5. That's a great run. Carson Neal is going to try to follow Beans back through, door to door into turn 5.
Door to door and deep under the brakes. Beans trying to secure that lead, and he will do so ahead of Hibbett. They head towards the hairpin, entering the back straightaway. Carson Neal trying to get a run, but he's got Nicholas Rasputo with a big run to his left side.
Yeah, nice run there for Nick, and opens up the door to the inside. Pretty much single filed out beyond them. Burkhardt got swarmed on the start, but he knows this is a long game. 20 minutes is plenty of time to move up a couple of spots. Rasputo's going to take the position away from Neal, and now we get to the backstretch. And this is where that drafting starts to kick in.
And it'll be the first time we really get to see the effect of it in a giant pack. That's really the only time we're going to really truly see how it's effective, or how effective it is in a real racing scenario when you got all these cars drafting off one another. How powerful, or maybe not as powerful as it can be.
Yeah, speeds definitely seem up from the last time we were here. 122, leaving NASCAR 4. And across the stripe, we're going to be north of 130, I think, by the time we get to turn 1. They're side by side. Here comes Burkhardt to the outside. 133, I saw. That's quick for an MX-5, and off goes Beans at turn 1.
Big mistake there, went off the track. Not sure if he was forced off or not, but that's going to cost him a couple spots. Saw a little bit of a tap from Carson Neal to Morgan Burkhardt as he wrestles his way into third.
Yeah, a little bit of pushing and shoving. Let's go back and have another look at turn 1 here from high above. Let's watch the Beans Forster car here, the white car with the 2 faces on the back. Was there a touch here?
No, just some of the grass.
Yeah, just nibbled it, and it sent him off. Did a nice job getting back on course, though. That's tough.
Great job for him. Looks like Joshua Soto has retired the car. Not sure why, but he has called it a day, so back down to 18 drivers.
He's got a meatball. I wonder if that was an engine expiring, and that was about 30 seconds ago. So let's see if, yep.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Money shift.
That was a good replay pickup. So up onto the backstretch again. Hibbett now leads over Rasputo. Then Burkhardt third, and Forster, who led some of the opening lap, is now down to 5th. That's how fast things ebb and flow here. Look at the gap that he's got up to the lead, and with the speed so much higher than we've seen in the past. The draft is effective, Finian, but it's going to start dying out. You run out of power above 130 miles an hour. It's just hard to push the air out of the way. And they're in 6th gear, you can hear it.
Yeah, they're getting every bit they can. Here we go, 3 wide, Morgan Burkhart through the middle. He'll get 1, try to secure 2 as Rasputo still keeps a nose in there, and a big cutoff from Burkhart slams the door shut. He will take the lead.
And Nate Himmelsbach missed that by a long ways. He gets back on course, but I saw that car like a train derailing, just way, way wide going into turn 1. We'll lose a couple spots there, but Burkhart, Rasputo, Hibbett now the reordered front runners as we leave turn 4.
It's a really fine line that you have to hit when you make that turn in, because you're heading in there with a head full of steam, and if you miss that turn-in point and you miss your braking point, you're going to go flying off the track. So, fortunately, lost a couple positions, but still kept it out of the wall, so he will remain in line.
Deacon Greenfield chasing Dylan Lee, Hayden Manis up the road. Those two, actually all 3 of these drivers, I'd expect to see a little bit further up the field. And newcomer Austin Duran, how about him? Up to 7th place, started 9th, and he's actually looking for another spot here. Or is Manis trying to claw that one back? It's going to knock Duran back to 8th place.
He's trying to get it back. Ooh, Duran a little bit tail happy on the exit. Better exit for Manis on the outside. Now heading back onto the oval, and we'll close the door on that occasion. So he'll hold on to 7th place. Duran back to 8th. Dylan Lee in behind in 9th. And actually, Dylan Lee's made the most progress out of anyone so far, up from 14th to 9th. So he's having a pretty good day, and it doesn't look like he's not done yet.
Yeah, qualifying is a little bit of a dice roll because, again, you do it when you're on track with everyone else, so the draft comes into play. Go back to the lead. They're going to do this every lap of this race. But this time, Rasputo hangs in line. Hibbett to the inside with a big move on the brakes and jumps the curb at 1, and that'll give Burkhart a little breathing room.
He turned in so hard he left tire marks heading down into turn 1.
Yeah, watch this again. Watch Camden Hibbett just make this hard left right here.
Look, he's drifting into turn 1.
Oh, man. That was as aggressive as I think you can get without chucking the car into the trash can, but hung on to it.
And up to 2nd place. He will hold it ahead of Rasputo, who was... See a couple exchanges in the back. Not sure if someone's having internet issues.
I think that is the situation back there. Nate Himmelsbach and Friedhofer having some connectivity challenges, we'll call them.
Ooh. Austin Duran's having trouble with someone completely smashing in the back end of his car. That was entering turn 1, looks like. Who's that? Who's that in the red car?
That would have been, I think,
Deacon Greenfield.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go back a little bit further, and here's where that happened, right here. Bam. And did a great job blowing it up to have that the lapse in retardation there for a second when you get the look at this for the lead. Rasputo tried to use the apron to do it. He could not. Here comes Neil up the center.
Because they're really embracing the NASCAR side of things. We're crashing on the oval.
Yeah, that was a pretty aggressive maneuver down there. It's going to bring Neil to 2nd place. And Hibbett again with that surprise move down the inside. But he's doing that in anticipating that he needs to slow the car down, so he's getting it stopped. It's not like he's running people off the road down there, but just really aggressive on the binders.
So it seemed that all kicked off because Rasputo, you got to run heading into NASCAR turn 3. Made a little bit of a cheeky dive to the inside, but the lane was kind of closing in, and I'm not sure, is there any ruling or any precedent for passing below the line
I don't think
on these ovals?
That they're supposed to. I don't remember the exact rule off the top of my head. Oh, Rasputo, contact, and Neil goes for a slide.
And then really, really deep, and I wonder that's some frustration for what happened just a lap ago.
Yeah, just, I think you're exactly right. Frustrated, a little bit of red mist here, but he's going to pop out of line and just brakes way too late and gets in the ABS, and then it just doesn't stop.
Wow, Beans Forcer got really lucky on the switchback. I don't think he got any damage out of that.
Yeah, but that's the kind of accident that we see here at Homestead is these heavy braking zones, and this car's ABS. This is not motorsport ABS. This is stock road car anti-lock braking system. So when you go to the binders, it is not very good when you get into that ABS, and so you have to sort of threshold brake to it. Once you're in it, you sort of end up in a situation where you can't stop the car. These guys are just toying with everyone else up here.
They're trying to take like actual stock car racing lines through these corners, and these cars not meant for it, but they're trying to psych each other out. All that's allowed is for Beans Forcer to catch back up to them, because he's effectively now back in this, making it a 3-car, now 4-car battle, as Newell's also in this.
Yeah, I know that these drivers embrace the show, so they're going to make this fun. and they know that they're not realistically going to drive away. It's going to be a battle all the way to the end. But you have to note one thing, though, is since the drop of the green, we're on lap 6 now, and Burkhardt has really felt like he's been in command most of this time, right? Like we've seen other leaders, but this 67 is commanding this race. Doesn't look like it by a lot, but he is a little harder to uproot than it might look at first glance.
Poor run for Camden Hibbett into that corner, went a little bit wide. It's allowed Forster to get a much better entry and exit all over his rear bumper. Now, does he dare make a move into the hairpin here? And you see Hibbett, that heart rate's jumped up a lot.
Yeah, still relatively low considering the intense racing that's happening around him, but Camden is real relaxed behind the wheel. A little slip up there for Burkhardt, and he's going to run Hibbett to the grass, but Hibbett's going to get a left side tire up underneath there, and they're going to be side by side down the backstretch now.
And all that pavement off to the left of that white line, very inviting, but I think these drivers, as you mentioned, told not to use that. We'll see if they abide by that. As you see, Beans Forster looks to the outside, not really going to get much of a run up there with how slow these cars are. Goes back to the inside now, in behind Hibbett. And now here comes James Newell with a big run, looking to the outside here on the front straightaway.
And are we going to try 4? We might. We're getting to that point.
Oh, boy.
Hibbett's going to back out. Let's let these drivers go in there real hard. Watch Newell on the outside. That's where we've seen drivers make that mistake on braking. And spin, slide behind, and Dylan Lee. Wow, what was that?
I'm going to assume he either hit someone or hit the grass on entry.
Well, he had it gathered up like he was going to save it and drive out of it, and then bailed off to the right. So here's him alongside Austin Duran. And right there, hip check. And he had it almost saved.
You know what? He kept the wheel turned to the right, and then as soon as it gripped up, went exactly where he had it pointed.
Yeah, and he might call it there, at least for race 1, or get a reset there. Austin Duran with the hip check. I don't think he got a whole lot of damage out of that, but that will probably be reviewed post-race. And out front,
a decent run up in 7th.
Yeah, out front, still Burkhardt over Newell over Forster, and under 10 minutes to go, so halfway through this first race.
Halfway through, and it's already been intense.
Yeah, I mean, but this is how they have raced all year long, is they race, especially Burkhardt and Forster and Hibbett, when they know how strong they are, they sort of just race without fear of getting caught, because they're so good that they can do these battles and still maintain the lead. But now Newell off the bumper of Forster should come with a pretty big head of steam.
There he goes, big run. Does he go anywhere with it? It might be late if he does. Looks to the outside. It could be dangerous. Keep it in tow.
Yeah, that was the most orderly turn 1 we've seen so far.
Tries to do switch back.
Ooh, Burkhardt.
Tries to look. Big block from Burkhardt.
Yeah, Burkhardt covered that. That was like the IMSA GS line going down into turn 2. Just, pinch off the exit. Whoops, some more drivers farm fielding out there in turn 1. That's Greenfield again.
Yeah, start charging people for tearing up the grass.
Yeah. Or he could put some weed out there and just farm it. Turn a profit. It's just such a flat corner, no camber, right? You're coming into that turn at 130 miles an hour, and there's just nothing other than the mechanical grip from the tire. No aero on these cars. I mean, they have the aerodynamic properties of an eggshell, so they're just not.
I was looking through just to see what these drivers were talking about before the race. I did see a brick being posted, and I think I had an idea what they're referring to.
Yeah, the NC Generation MX-5 is at least known in the grassroots circles as having a pretty terrible frontal area relative to its horsepower, so that's why it drafts so well, but that is a detriment to that straight line performance on your own. And obviously when it didn't have a roof, that didn't make it any better, having that open top. Here comes Beans out on the outside. He'll have Hibbett behind him, so it's Newell pushing Burkhardt, a little bit of a wiggle and a wobble there on the front stretch. Here comes Hibbett, and across the stripe now, 7 minutes to go.
Oh, a hip check to Hibbett. Hibbett goes sideways. He will hang on to it. Oh, and hello, here comes Hayden Manis in the mix.
Yeah, that's a car I've been watching sort of close this gap down a little ways. And while we watch these drivers battle through turn 1, here's what just happened. And this is the common thing that we've seen a couple times tonight, is that inside car turns in shallow, washes out. not really a lot. I mean, Hibbett has to turn in, though. They just kind of came together. Then look at Manis charging in there with a head of steam. He was already committed on the brakes, and you're turning. So you're already in the ABS, whether you want to be or not.
Yeah, I was going to say just before that happened that at some point, someone's got to give on that entry to the corner. It is so hard, especially later on in the run, pushing through at high speed. And someone's going to have to give up and yield to the other driver. It's so hard to go side by side, full tilt through that corner.
Front 5, just been a little shake-up there. Rice-Pudo just clinging to the back of these front runners. Last time by was significantly quicker than the front runners. It ran a 33.8 compared to 34.3s was the best we saw. That was Hibbett last time around of the front 4.
And it looks like with the way things are running, as Rice-Pudo catches up to this pack, it looks like it's just going to remain amongst the top 6. About 3.5 seconds remain between Rice-Pudo and Duran between 6th and 7th place. So your winner in the next couple minutes looking to come from those 6 cars on screen, pending absolute chaos happening, and it might happen here into turn 1. Big dive for Berghardt. The inside of turn 1 of Beans Forrester, and we'll get past Beans with the switchback, tries to throw it in again.
That was really nice. You see him smiling there. That was a fun maneuver, but again, Berghardt pinched off the attack. Love watching the heel toe downshifting as well. That's the old-fashioned way of doing things, and it gets busy trying to slow the car down, rev match, get the clutch in, shift gears, and make that choreograph to perfection. So we'll have to try again, but Berghardt again covering off the entry to 3 so well by exiting and immediately diving on defense.
And Rice-Pudo, almost contact with Hayden Manis, almost pushed him off the track a little bit, and is there side by side, battle for 5th.
Yeah, I don't think they really want to fight each other too much because we're getting down to 3 to go next time by. I'd like to be positioning myself probably 3rd or 4th. I don't know that I want to be 2nd because I think 2nd and 1st are going to have the same detriment to deal with. Duran and Neal are also drivers to watch. They were actually a hair quicker than the lead pack last time by, and they're not out of this yet, especially if there's carnage in that front pack. That could be a top 5 spot.
It does look like Neal missed shift a little bit, Duran giving a little bit of a bump. Trying to see if they can catch back up and be a factor before it's all said and done. As Forster looks at the outside, maybe tries to see if he can look back to the inside. Hibbett's looking way outside. Went off screen, there he is.
And he's back. They're covering that inside lane, so looks like Beans will go to the middle, Hibbett to the outside, and Hibbett's going to just dive in underneath both of them. Here he comes, and he does a little fake-out move. Does it get Berghardt to overdrive? Just slightly, and that'll open the door for Hibbett. Beautifully done by Hibbett.
Oh, some contact there, side by side, and in the next couple turns. Now Hibbett will push to the outside, Berghardt to the inside, tries to do the switchback. Just inserts that car between Berghardt and Forrester. The car just fit.
Yeah, but look at the run that Hibbett built now, and Berghardt sees it coming, so he's going to go to cover. He's going to run him all the way to the grass, but he has to leave space, and here comes Hibbett. This is fun to watch between these front runners.
Ooh, a little bit of contact there on the entry, stuck on the curbs, over he goes, and loses all the momentum on the exit.
Yeah, Beans tried to throttle up before them, but he's going to get pounced on by a charging Newell with help from Rice-Pudo, who's right back into this. This is getting fun here at the front.
So for that game of chess comes in, it's 6 cars all jockeying for a position within a 1/10 of each other. And really all it takes is one person to make a mistake, and that can gain you a spot or could lose your spot.
Yeah, I think Hayden Manis has a great opportunity. They're coming to 2 to go, and he can watch all this out the windshield and see how this is going to play out and then make his move. I think it might be smart to hang out for another lap and then strike from P6, but he's got a great chance to just watch and pick up all the pieces once they tangle here. And Rice-Pudo and Forster side by side.
And here we go, back into the front straightaway. Nose to tail, here we go. Pack of 6, 2 by 2 by 2, and here they go, almost 4 wide into turn 1.
Yeah, and Hibbett didn't want any part of that. He backed out. Everyone keeps it on course for now. Newell charges up on the outside of Berghardt, and he's going to challenge him here into turn 3. This is good stuff here, but I think it's going to be tough to hang on. He's going to do it. At least keeps the overlap.
Switch back to the right. Can he clear? He will not, and it'll be a drag race again, but actually a fantastic run for Berghardt out of that corner.
And that's Berghardt showing, the prowess that he's got as a, I believe, silver-rated driver in the FIA, and that's exactly why, is maintaining that roll on the outside to not bind up your steering input And, you know, that's a big disadvantage being on the outside of that bank turn, but he held on to it. And now he and Newell are sort of separated from the rest of the field, but only give it a half a lap before the rest are back.
Rasputo going defensive, heading towards the back straightaway hairpin. Cam to Hibbett looking to the outside, Forster looking to follow suit.
Hibbett tried to cross over there, but I think you're better off just pushing at this rate. And a lap and a half to go. The white flag at the stripe this time by.
And I don't think anyone's going to be lifting at this point. Here we go.
Watch, look at Hibbett's heart right now.
Behind.
He was at 120 a moment ago.
I don't blame him. A lot on the line here, and he's coming with a big charge. And turn one. Let's see what happens as Newell and Burkhardt go side by side. And behind now, they fan out 3 wide.
This is going to get spicy here. Rasputo to third. Hibbett's going to dive up underneath. Opportunity there to get by Rasputo and put himself in P3. He will do that and almost gets into Newell there for second. Newell up the inside of Burkhardt for the lead.
Hibbett also trying to defend both charging Beans Forrester and Rasputo in behind him.
Oh,
so we're on the third contact as Newell goes sideways. That slows them up. Here comes Hibbett. Nowhere to go with the run.
Yeah, but he might be able to give Newell the shove he needs to clear Burkhardt. And Burkhardt's going to get a push from Beans.
Everyone trying to get on the binders, on the brakes, 3 wide on the exit.
Yeah, that's tough out of the groove there. It's really rubbered in, and Beans is going to get squeezed. Contact with Hibbett, and now look at that heart rate.
Yeah, that makes sense now as he has a big charge to the outside, and Burkhardt trying to figure out where he wants to defend.
Yeah, leave it. He's going to enter wide, though. He's going to give the opening there to Newell, but he's going to roll better speed. Contact, and it kills the momentum now, and that changes the picture. Newell to the lead.
Well, now he's in behind. He has a chance to make a slipstream run on Newell or maybe push him. Now this is where everyone's got to figure out when to make a move. Ooh, below the white line.
Yeah, TBD on how that gets enforced, so we'll let it happen for now. But little contact there as they climb up onto the banking. And watch Hibbett. He's going to try to carve down, use the gravity feed down the hill into the banking. Oh,
boy. To see if he can build up that run. Here we go. Has a massive run. Does he have anywhere to go with it, though? That's going to be the question.
Contact here coming out of the last turn. Morgan Burkhardt is going to be 3 across. Who gets there first? It's a photo finish, and the win will go to Burkhardt by 60 thousandths of a second.
How about that?
Wow. That angle's a little less close, but man, what a battle there all the way to the stripe. 5 cars on top of each other, and Burkhardt hangs on. Let's have a look here at the race results before we lose them post-race here, Finian. But what did we learn? I think we learned race 2 is going to be even spicier.
Oh, yeah, especially as these drivers now had a little bit more time to play with the slipstream, especially there at the end, because it's all about timing, and we saw Hibbett really build up that run. He left a little bit of a gap because he knew if he can get a little bit of breathing room, get the chance to build up that run, might have a chance to go anywhere with it, but didn't really have space to go anywhere with it. So unfortunately, we'll have to settle for 3rd place, but man, what a run to the finish.
Yeah, there's a look at your top 10 and the rest of the order here. Deacon Greenfield, Dylan Lee, again, I think might have been from some frustration involved. He's still here. He didn't leave, but maybe felt like the car was too damaged to continue and wasn't worth going back out, but that will hurt in the points. Josh Soto up to 16th place. Did complete all but 1 lap. So there is your running order here for race number 1. And Checkered is out here. And again, we talked a little bit about Full Send Sims. We'll tell you a bit more about them. Of course, Court Schmidt and Full Send Sims building custom racing simulators for your application. And with so much experience building military simulators over the years, Court has a special attention to detail. But Full Send Sims supports not only sim racing, but also real world racing. Here's a bit more on Full Send Sims.
Simulation will never replace real-world racing, and I don't want it to.
Full Send Sims provides custom-built, top-notch simulators from whatever your budget is. We want to find the best fit for you.
We build rigs for pro drivers where we go and measure their cars, every measurement one-to-one down to the millimeter. You can drive these sims and certify, basically, to race a car in the real world. Matter of fact, this weekend we have 2 guys that work with FSS that have strictly been sim racing for the last 5 years.
Absolutely did not think a year ago I'd be driving a race car this weekend. However, getting into the simulator, I think it really helped me get on the track and stay competitive.
I've been a sim racing instructor for about 2 years now. The benefit of working with me as a race coach, I'll get you to be a better driver, a lot faster, with a lot less mistakes than you could doing it on your own.
We take the sim building and the sim training as serious as possible. It's not a video game, it's a training tool.
Full Send Sims will offer fully custom-built rigs and delivered and installed into your own home, and constant online service. What we offer is world-class, top-notch racing, built by a community of racers who enjoy passionate, clean racing.
Well, if you missed race one, don't worry. We've got another one coming up in just a moment's time. 20 more minutes of intense racing at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Kyle Heyer rejoined by Finian DeCuna. Finian, breaking down what we just watched. Morgan Burkhardt won the race. Camden Hibbett was in the conversation. But again, with Forster up in the conversation as well, the points are so tight. When everyone is running this well, I don't know that there's any major gains or losses happening in the points picture when we're so close to the end of the year. Drivers like Burkhardt, like Manis, they need to make bigger swings in the points, and that requires a little bit of bad luck. So how carefully do you drive if you're Camden Hibbett or Forster, knowing that, you know, if you just finish top 3, it's pretty hard for people to make inroads on you?
I mean, it really depends on how aggressively you want to take it. There's both sides of the argument. Yes, you could run a little bit more aggressive and, try to get yourself in better positions, get yourself more points, but obviously it comes with a trade-off. Could end up wrecking out, spitting out, end up losing a whole bunch of points in the process. If you run a little bit more conservatively, you may get a couple points steadily coming in, but you may not have enough points that you need, especially with guys performing like Rasputo, Burkhardt, and Manis. You got to keep an eye on them for these last couple remaining races of the season. So it really depends, and you can argue you can do a little bit of both. It really depends on how the race is playing out. If a couple drivers drop out, maybe you can be a little bit more aggressive because you got a buffer. If everyone's packed up together, maybe you want to play a little more conservative, but I'm sure that's probably the last thing going through these guys' minds when they're coming to the finish line.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of, I just did the most Midwestern thing ever. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, oh, yeah. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to be said about the aggression level that these drivers have and the precision that they have. When you watch Morgan Burkhardt, we talked about it off air there during the break, that when Morgan Burkhardt makes a move, it is very aggressive, on the line for sure, but the way that he does it, you can't argue with it. It's not against the rules. There's nothing inherently wrong, and that is just a racer taking advantage of everything in the rule book, and he has the precision to do that every single time without making a mistake, and that's where, other drivers, when they drive to that tight of a limit and they make a mistake, people crash. But Burkhardt, for the most part, in the last couple of seasons, hasn't really done that a lot. So he's been able to put it on the edge and keep it there, and that's just hard to race against.
I'll tell you that as someone that has admin of series recently, he is the driver that admins hate because he has to make them sit down and look at the rule book, inside, outside, and everything in between, and make a ruling on whether or not it's allowed. So we'll double check and see how it goes.
You just got to know your stuff, right? When you got drivers of this caliber, and that goes for Camden and Beans and everyone else too. When they're driving to such a high level, to win these championships requires an intimate understanding of not only the rules but your racecraft. And when you can take it to that edge consistently, event after event after event, that's the difference between finishing first and finishing fourth sometimes, is understanding how close you can get to the edge without stepping over it. So I'm excited for race 2, 20 minutes again. And again, we saw some drivers make mistakes early on, blowing engines on the downshifts, things like that. This is the second lease on life. Don't toss it away in the opening lap.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing, because a lot of times we'll see drivers be a little bit more conservative in race 1, especially in a chaotic first opening corners. Now that they've kind of pushed and tested the waters a little bit, might see it be a little bit more chaotic down there, maybe not. Never quite know. It really depends on how hungry some of these drivers are, especially after what happened in race 1.
Yeah, so we're going to grid this race by the results of race 1. That will put Morgan Burkhardt and James Newell on the front row. Again, we're talking about championship implications with Hibbett leading and Forster in 5th. Hibbett extended just now his championship advantage over Beans Forster. Nicholas Rice-Budo gained a little bit on Forster. He was only 13th back. So, you know, the math gets a little tougher for Beans, but again, finishing within a couple positions of your rivals keeps you in the conversation, at least for a few more rounds.
Interesting thing with Resputo, too, he actually had an issue coming to the checkered flag. He had an issue where everything just went to one single monitor.
Oh, gosh.
Instead of his triples. Still managed to finish that in a decent position, but he, I guess, should be fortunate that it only happened in the last corner or so.
Yeah, hopefully it was just the center monitor that stayed alive. I can only imagine having to look out the left side window like your hood flew up or something. Quick weather check here. It's dropped a little bit as far as the track temp is considered. Nice, pleasant 60% humidity, which for this area of Florida is a blessing.
Yeah, seriously.
Another driver to note, James Newell with that second place over Hayden Manis' 6th. That should break the tie for 5th in the standings. So that will give Newell the advantage there. I think this race, Deacon Greenfield will be looking for improvement. Carried a lot of momentum coming into this event. Gained 3 positions last time out at Sebring with an 8th and a 7th, and hasn't finished outside of the top 10 since Road America in September. But of course, he just finished 11th in that race, so that ends that streak. But his season definitely turned around after that Road America race. Only had 2 finishes inside the top 10 since then. All but one, the most recent race, have been a top 10.
And I'm just hearing the drivers chatting amongst themselves. They're asking for clarification amongst themselves about the white line. So rule is that you must have 2 tires on the racing surface at all times.
Well, I will not be the one to detangle the race 1 finish. Again,
we'll let the admins do that. That's their job.
Yeah, again, it's always a conversation of did you get forced down there? Looking back at Morgan, he had a bunch of momentum. I don't know that necessarily gives you the right to drive down there, but again, that's why we're up here and they're down there. I like it this way.
Yeah, it was funny that Morgan asked for a clarification on it after the finish, and so that was a response, and now he's blasting the national anthem heading off into turn 3. If you're wondering what's going on in the Morgan Burkhardt camp.
Blasting the national anthem?
On his, in the in-game chat, yes.
Like a recording, or he's singing?
In sim.
Okay. No, but is he singing it, or is he like playing
No, he's just playing the audio of it.
All right. Well, it
is election day.
It sure is. Oh boy. All right, cars on the banking here in NASCAR 3 and 4. 20 minutes go up on the board. And Trace Hance pulling out of line with a problem. And he will drop to the rear of the field. All the while, the rest of the field gets ready to take the green flag. Time to go racing. Race 2, FSS SMX. Round 10, race 2 underway, green flag, and we're racing at Homestead-Miami. And Hance with a, he had a lot of black flags on the board now because of that Hance reshuffle. Those will, I'm sure, get cleared. Into turn 1, though, Burkhardt leads the field.
Getting off into turn 1, let's see if everyone behaves the second time on through. And again, Newell will look to the outside. Resputo also looking to the outside of Hibbett, but he will get blocked off because Newell got a poor run.
Love that banking at turn 4. You just sort of fall into it, drop into it like it's a skateboard rink. What do you, a half pipe? What do you call those things? I'm hipping with the kids these days.
I think that's about right. As he's side by side with Newell, tries to close the door on Hibbett. He will do so for just a second, as they all come back onto the straightaway, heading to the hairpin for the back straightaway. For the first time this race, all single file. Never mind.
Not for long, Hibbett, and here comes Manis popping out of line on Forster. And from a long ways back, there is, Bob Mueller made a move there. A little contact I heard. Was it Beans and Manis?
Yes, it was. A little bit, and that cost him some time. You see a little bit of separation, not too much, from the leading group. Carson Neal all over the rear bumper of Manis as the leaders get side by side already.
That didn't take long. And again, they've actually dropped a couple cars like Neal and Forster that were in that lead group in the last race. I'm sure they'd like to keep it that way, reduce the number of failure points they have for their own plan, but across the stripe here, lap 1 complete, and Newell leads across the stripe.
Here we go into turn 1, flying in full speed.
Ooh, watch Manis, got in the grass. Did manage to get the car slowed down. Forster looks to the inside, but here comes Austin Duran. It's going to get a little tight, and Neal goes off the nose. They're tangled.
They got tangled up and still tangled up a little bit as they try to get going the right direction, and that was too many cars in one space.
Yeah, Duran, I think, just makes this lunge right here. Yeah, just too late. Nothing that Neal did wrong there. He got collected. That's a shame for Duran, too, because he was having a nice night. Don't want to be marred by a penalty or anything of the sort, but it's almost certainly going to happen after that. But Rice Pudo and Hibbett, Newell, Burkhardt, and Beans.
Beans, a couple of scrapes and bruises to the front nose of that car. Nothing too crazy or out of the ordinary. Nothing that should really affect them. Yeah,
so the damage on the nose of these cars, ever since they redid the damage model, it's been pretty sensitive to that initial damage stage. So it might make it a little more challenging if he's not tucked up in the draft. Again, I think the hard top has slicked these things out a little bit, but before that, it was a real detriment to straight line speed.
Fairly single file up near the front. Habit with a huge run from second place on Rice Pudo, and will immediately take a look to the inside, heading to turn 1.
And he'll have them cleared before they even get to the breaking point.
He is flirting with that wall.
Yeah, just super aggressive, but very comfortable. And you know, the issue is also there's a curb down there. When you drive over that, it bounces the car. You see it kind of get airborne every time he drives down there, and you have to wait for the car to settle. Again, we're on a fixed setup, so you don't really have any control over those spring rates or anything. But when you land, if it's still bouncing and then you hit the brakes, it can lead to all sorts of things. So you have to be pretty in tune with the balance of the car to do that.
I dare ask you without awakening the dragon, but is there 3D curbs at this track?
That's a great question. I haven't gotten a nice close look at them since they redid it. My initial inclination was no, but I haven't seen them close up enough to really note them. I don't know that it would matter here because none of the curbs are the FIA plate style. They're all like Manis. They're all the groove style, which I don't think the 3D effect. It does work on them, but I don't think it really has a big factor on the grip level on the curb.
Deacon Greenfield very hard into the hairpin, made some contact to the back of Beans Forrester's car, dented that car in.
Deacon made up a couple spots, 4 spots up from the start, 11th to 7th. Might try the old NASCAR side draft technique there, but he tried to tuck back in. I think Seth Spolman. Oh no, he's not quite there yet, is he?
And Beans trying to get a slipstream to the group up ahead as they go too wide into turn 1. Burkhardt running the way outside lane on the entry. Hibbett trying to keep it nice to the inside, and will try to force Burkhardt out of line, and he will do so through turns 1 and 2.
That seems to be the only way to really lock Burkhardt out of this outside run through 4 is you put him on driver's right going into 3, and you keep overlap. You're in a better spot leaving 4.
Some contacting behind with Heath Manis and Deacon Greenfield. Looks like for the most part they've sorted it out for now.
Austin Duran's in pit lane, by the way. I think he's got some issues to sort out. Let's give Jim Friedhofer some credit here real quick, Finian.
Yeah, you read my mind.
Yeah, 12th to 9th, and then right behind him, I think there is, what car is that there? That is the 60 of Muller, but he's, oh no, sorry, that's not the 60. It is the 717 of Jose Las Casas. 15th to 10th.
I was just about to say for Friedhofer, we didn't really mention him at all, I think, in race number 1, but he's climbed all the way up he started in 18th in race 1, finished 12th, and now from 12th to 9th, so he's gone nothing but forward.
Been a tough season for him, so I think this is a notable event for him to get a top 10. Whoa, spin at the front of the field almost. Morgan Burkhardt almost lost it off the nose of Rice Pudo, and that was very close to disaster at a high-speed area of the racetrack. Have a look at how close this was entering NASCAR Turn 3. I can't believe he saved this. Watch the angle that the 67 car gets to here, Finian, as they bump draft here into 3, right here.
Whoa.
That
That's
is
exactly what happens in the Cup Series for NASCAR when these guys are pushing up the super speedways. You get that one bump in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's enough to upset the car and send them sideways, but a great recovery for Burkhardt, as I think everyone had their heart rate jump in the front part of the field.
That is a real heart and throat moment there. Because just the slightest miscalculation in the correction of that, you're going into the concrete at 120 miles an hour. So job well done there.
So that's allowed drivers further on back to catch back up.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually very even. The front pack is single file, but pretty close, all the way back to 14th place Nate Himmelsbach. So I don't want to say that, you know, you have a shot if you're P14 right now, but you're not out of it, that's for sure.
No. Especially if anything like what we just saw happen occurs near the front, we could be in for a big shakeup.
Were you
if it happens up near the front of the order?
Around at the Watkins Glen melee that a couple seasons ago?
I may or may not have been.
There was one of those crashes in the S's that just everybody was in.
Oh, I still get PTSD from the Redenso sports car
gosh.
crash.
Lap 1, turn 1, just cars everywhere. A little bit of shuffling on the front stretch here. Rice Budo's got a nice big run, little contact there. Burkhardt still leads across the line.
And he would have had a better run, but Beans Forrester backed out, left him out to dry, and Newell goes out by himself, almost 3 wide, almost in the grass, trying to make a move.
Yeah,
Oh, Beans, a little bit of a tap to Hibbett, sent him sideways. And Deacon Greenfield now up here, ready to make some moves in 6th place. Oh, as he gets tapped behind from Manis, around he goes. Big contact with Trace Hans.
Yeah, Greenfield got the worst end of that for sure. That car.
Oh, man.
That is going to be the end of his race. Trace Hans also has terminal damage.
I think that's the textbook definition of commentator's curse right there.
Yeah. And again, it was 65 of Manis, and he went the long way around. And yeah, they just got tangled. I think, you know, Deacon got loose and it just tangled everybody up, unfortunately. But that will be the end of his race. We'll go back to the lead here, and they've still got lots to sort out.
I think they're going to spend the entire race sorting this out. That's typically how these things play out. It's never quite sorted who's in the lead. Look, Burkhardt's typically been the one holding the lead steady for most of the things. He's done a fantastic job defending, which I don't think we've stated enough. Especially through those first few corners, he just manages to place the car in the right place to keep everyone in behind for the most part, but these runs are where he's really weak, especially with this big gap in behind. Right, Sputer's got a huge run and a huge bump from behind. There he goes with a huge head full of steam to the outside.
Yeah, that was really dicey there. And again,
I think he might clear him.
3 wide. Yikes. Gosh,
made Morgan Burkhardt back out.
Oh, contact.
Oh.
And that was Burkhardt trying to get to the inside of Rice Budo. Rice Budo tried to cover and was a couple feet too late.
James Newell, aggressive move to the outside while Rasputin made a fantastic move. Newell made a better one and then parked the bus to secure the deal.
Just looking to see, I mean, Seth Spolman up to 7th place. This is going to be a really good night for him.
Yeah, another driver that's flown under the radar. Started 15th in race 1, up to 10th in race 2, and now from 10th up to 6th. So he's looking at 7th at the moment. But looking at a pretty good finish should things remain the same.
How about Dylan Lee? Started dead last, up to 9th. And again, we'd expect him to be up, you know, even better than this, but that's from the tail of the field and about half the race length.
Yeah, and he had that issue in race 1, called it quits, and made a huge recovery now in race 2. And up there with the lead pack, so he can make something out of tonight as well. I'm almost a little bit too concerned with how many cars we have in one big pack.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you watch a race at Talladega and you're like, there are too many cars and the white flag is out and we are not going to get all of them back to the stripe in one piece.
Yeah, typically I don't think we associate the Mazda MX-5 racing with a big one or a big crash, but we might have to reconsider that.
Be surprised how often that comes around at that comparison. Here comes Burkhardt to the outside. Hibbett's going to go all the way to the right. You see Rice Budo jump on the binders there. Watch Hibbett. That's a tough spot to be in the grass. Burkhardt launches through turn 1. What a move there. And they're 3 wide for second. Now no space for Hibbett in the middle.
Oh, bumper cars in turn 3.
Oh, more squeezing. And Seth Spolman ripe with opportunity here as he watches Manis Newell and Forster get tangled.
Yeah, just waiting for his moment to strike. Didn't quite find the chance to make a move, but did do a great job to be able to catch back up. Now on the back of Hayden Manis, looking at 6th.
Look at them using all that rumble strip on the left to slow the car down. They're using every inch of the racetrack that they have available to them.
Listen, they paid for the racetrack. They're going to use all the racetrack. You know what the saying, give the driver an inch, they'll take a mile.
Yeah.
And then some.
Onto the backstretch again, a little bit of shuffling between Spolman and Friedhofer. This is like a birthday to them here. They're in a great spot. And Josh Soto, you and I picking up on that too. Here he comes.
Kind of crazy how our minds think alike. It's almost scary.
Yeah, I mean, you and I, when you live together for a couple of years.
We haven't commentated with each other for a long time.
No.
It's just like picked up like that.
I know.
Speaking of picking up, here comes Rasputo trying to pick up a head full of steam, but not quite getting there. He's actually got a decent gap to Burkhardt. Hibbett backed out of it, and Beans is backed out of it. Interesting. Oh, Newell, big run to the inside of Forrester. Tries to have a half-hearted look.
Oh,
That's allowed Hayden Manis to go as someone goes flying off the track.
that's Jose de las Casas, and that was the classic. Can't quite get it wound down in the camberless corner. That is turn 1. So
Tried to look to the outside of Soto, but went way outside. Actually, all in all, did a great job of covering that.
watching Burkhardt lead this race. He's been really strong tonight. Definitely willing to put the car out on the limit.
Oh, crash or spin.
Spolman right in the middle of the road, and he's going to do the nice thing, back off the racetrack. Was there contact is the question.
We was racing aggressively with Friedhofer, we saw last couple times. Did it boil over? Was there a mistake?
Joshua Soto got a shove, and then Friedhofer right there tags him and sends him around. Garzanil just missing that. He needed a little luck tonight.
Well, considering he got spun out on lap 1, he's done a great job of recovering back up to 8th.
Yeah, that's, again, got the short end of the stick twice tonight, so I think.
Oh, and Dylan Lee also an issue and off the track. It's all kicking off.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Dylan had that great recovery that we were just talking about, and this was contact there, and I think just called it. Frustrating night for the two. All right, where are we at here up at the front? We're 3 wide. Of course, we are. 5.5 minutes to go.
Calm last time through, not calm this time through. Is there 3 wide and we'll barely sort it out. Burkhardt back in the lead, Forster to the outside, and the 0-3 Rasputo trying to figure out where he wants to go.
Oh, contact!
Oh,
Beans gets
huge
clobbered. And he'll get back rolling. That might be enough damage to really throw off the alignment at least. Let's go back from high above and watch this turn 1 play out again.
Yeah, let's talk about, at some point someone's got to give. Not a whole lot of give there. But they maintain without any contact there, and then right here, entering this corner, bit of a dive from Rasputo.
Yeah, that wasn't as clear as it looked at first glance. There was definitely space for that car to exist there, and I think it was more of a, they came together. Maybe you could argue that the 0-3 could be closer to the apex, but it didn't look like he had understeered wildly offline, so that's a tough one for me.
Well, Court's going to have his work cut out for him when he comes back.
Yeah, well, they've got stewards that are handling this in real time, so they'll have,
they do? Okay.
Yeah, so they'll have plenty. Ryan Belansky from the SCCA is actually one of them. So
there we go.
We're going to be 3 wide again, maybe. Hibbett's going to set up to make it 3. Watch Burkhardt and Rasputo.
Hibbett has done a great job at setting these runs up, though. He's managed to time it to where right here he gets a fantastic run. The issue is where to go with it, so he will be forced to go to the outside. Killed his momentum a little bit. He'll be Rasputo at the line by a nose. And contact there with Burkhardt as he goes to the inside. Rasputo gets pushed out, but he will hang on.
Yeah, and again, it's just that defense into turn 1 is worth so much. I just don't know how much that matters. A little contact there front to rear from Hibbett to Burkhardt. I don't know if it matters if you lead into turn 1 because you can easily overcome that coming out of the NASCAR banking out of NASCAR 3 and 4. So I don't think to win this race you need to lead into turn 1, but they're fighting for it so hard down there.
That is true, because we did see towards the end how great the runs are. The question is just whether or not you have enough of a partner to work with, get enough of a run, and the positioning as well. Because you're going to run on a racetrack to make a move.
So Rice Spudo has James Newell tacked on the tailpipes. Carson Neal's back up into the lead. Finally, good to see that he doesn't have a lot of damage. At least it doesn't seem like he has a lot of damage. And he might even go further up north here.
Yeah, incredible to see this recovery. This is really the definition of keep your head to it, don't give up. You'll find yourself back near the front. Spun out on the opening lap, caught the leading pack again, and worked his way up, now up, and technically gained one position through all that.
Watching Manis on the outside, big run coming here. They're coming to 2 laps to go. Rice Spudo's got 2 tires on the white down there, but had enough space to race. Here we go, 2 to go, and look at this melee at the front. Look at Newell on the outside.
He's not waiting around, he's ready to go. Big dive between Newell and Manis side by side, and it looks like Newell's gonna get in there a little bit too deep. That allows Manis to come back to the inside here.
Yeah, but I think Manis and Newell controlling this into one. This is a different story than we've seen most of the night, with Burkhardt sort of commanding the lead. And Hibbett and Burkhardt are going to fight for third. And a lap and a half to go. This is when things start to get dramatic. There's Rice Spudo in trail, then Neal and Soto. Again, Joshua Soto just keeps creeping forward in this. He could be a real wild card. He hasn't tasted the lead yet tonight.
Well, I mean, he figured might as well, right? He struggled in race 1, had that blown engine that really took him out of contention early. Now here he is with a chance to fight for the lead. Running out of time to do so, being back in 7th, but it's a 7-car battle for the lead effectively, with Manis, Newell, Burkhardt, Hibbett, Rice Spudo your top 5.
Off into turn 8 now. Oh, Manis a little bit wide there. You just don't want to let your power come down on the grass. You need to keep all 4 tires on the pavement to get that nice drive off.
And Newell choosing not to follow in Manis's footsteps here on the slipstream. Interesting. And I wonder if that's to protect him from Burkhardt. That's interesting strategy there. And he's still running in the middle of the corner offline, and then we'll cut down low here on the exit.
Well, I think knowing that he's going to build a better run towards the end of the straightaway, and if you're right in behind, you're going to draft up to Manis before.
Here it comes.
Yeah, this I think that was building the slingshot maneuver. Last lap, white flag, 1 to go, and behind, getting pretty dramatic back here for 4th with Hibbett, Rice Spudo, and Burkhardt.
Newell will push the 65 almost off the track, but he will secure the lead. Here comes Burkhardt with a big run to the inside.
I don't know how he made up that much ground in turn 3, but he did. And then Newell going to be on defense there into 4, but he pushes out Burkhardt wide and covers off that maneuver.
Give him a bit of a hip check there. Burkhardt going to try to come back and get a run back on him. Hayden Manis, Kevin Hibbett side by side for 3rd with Rice Spudo, a punt back from 4th.
And through turn 5 and 6 now. Manis losing grip here, and he's not in the train. I don't think any of that's going to matter when they get to the backstretch, though. It's going to be a free-for-all once they get out of turn 8 here.
Yeah, this is going to be critical, this run out of the hairpin. This is going to set them up for the run to the line. As Rice Spudo...
Oh, Manis, goodbye. Did not... Well, actually, might have worked out in his favor here, because he's not going to be in this... the first driver to the melee when they get packed up here.
All right, now decisions to be made. Newell is going to be constantly looking in his mirror. Burkhardt in behind him, Hibbett, Rice Spudo, and Manis are side by side.
Burkhardt's sitting on it. He's not going to make this run to the very end. Hibbett is going to realize that and try to build this run. Is he even full throttle? I think he still might be waiting on it.
He's got to go now if he wants to make a move. Here we go, coming through NASCAR turn 4.
They might have waited too long, and here comes Burkhardt and Newell side by side to the stripe. James Newell all the way to the finish and steals it. James Newell wins race 2 of round 10 of the FSS SMX Series. Picks one up here in race 2 by
How about that?
37 thousandths. I don't know that he's ever won a race before.
I was going to say it's his maiden win, at least for this season. I can tell you that much, but a fantastic performance there.
Yeah, first win this season for sure. The question I have is then season 1. I don't think that he had a win there either. Just going back to see. Newell finished in 5th and had a grand total of 0 wins in 2025 season 1. I think that's about as far back as this record goes. So James Newell, that's a big success though.
Yeah, great event in general. We went from finishing P2 in race number 1 and now P1 in race number 2. So great weekend for him.
Yeah, double podium. And let's have a look here at the race results. And James Newell picks up a win over Burkhardt and Hibbett. And Hibbett, again, I think he'll lose a little ground relative to Burkhardt, but relative to the others he was battling, like Beans Forster, who ended up 10th in this one, that'll be a big gain for him. So big win there for the 132, despite the lack of actually winning races tonight.
Yeah, solid job looking down the order. Ken, Hibbett, Rice-Puto, Manis, Neal still with a great recovery. I'm sure he probably wished for a little bit more, but I feel like his night's not justified with just showing him go from 8th to 6th. He really fought back hard for it. Soto in 7th, and then the rest of the order. Beans Forrester are probably going to be disappointed with the way it went.
Yeah, I'd say so. Jim Friedhofer ended up 11th after that. Seth Spolman, they were both running up a little bit higher up the order. Deacon Greenfield, Dylan Lee, Trace Hance. Disappointing results. And then Austin Duran, strong start to the night, but just didn't quite finish it off strong, dead last in race number 2. We've got Camden Hibbett joining us now in 3rd place tonight, 3rd place in race number 2, Camden. P3 in both races. It was really, really aggressive out there. Take me through your evening there and battling at the end, because this place always seems to come down to those last lap battles and the runs to the end. How aggressive and how tooth and nail is it out there on course?
Yeah, I was kind of just waiting to just hang around and get points, to be honest with you. I was totally fine with 2/3. That was, look, this place is a toss-up. It's as close to a Daytona or Road America as you can get, to be honest with you. So this one's just a survive and advance type situation. So I'm pretty happy with how it went tonight. There were some questionable moves for sure. I think some of the racecraft is getting not necessarily out of hand, but it needs to be looked at, right? I mean, there's some moves that I'm seeing that just don't necessarily seem to fit what the series is all about, which is unfortunate. But I think it's not hard to get back to where it needs to be. I think there was a lot of contact tonight. Luckily there were no real like major issues, incidents, but I don't know. I mean, there was definitely a lot of beating and banging that wasn't necessary in my opinion, but that's something that race control and the stewards will take care of, and I mean, I'm sure we'll get back to where we need to be within the next couple weeks.
Morgan Burkhardt wins a race, closes on you a little bit tonight, but who are you really battling when you look at the season? We're getting close to the end here, 15 rounds, and we're in round 10. Are you looking at Beans? Are you looking at Rice-Puto? You know, who's really your biggest threat going into the season finale?
Well, truthfully, as I pull it up here, I don't know, to be honest with you. I haven't looked at it. It's not necessarily anything that I want to necessarily worry about yet. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to look at points so early because it all can change within a race. So it is very difficult to kind of look at who is where, and it's hard to look so soon. You know, Beans is close, Nick is close, Morgan is close, but I don't know if he's doing the rest of the schedule. So I mean, Nick and Beans is the priority, right? But Morgan is. If he ends up running the full schedule, then he's the one to beat, as always. I mean, I'm 2 for 2 on SMX seasons, and or no, at least one. Have we done 2 seasons in SMX yet? I don't know.
This is season 2, I believe.
This is season 2. All right. So I mean, this is a series that's very near and dear to my heart. I helped Court somewhat develop it, and this has been something that I've really taken to heart because it's helped me in my real world stuff as well. So this is a really close series to me. So I'll do pretty much whatever it takes to go back to back and become 2-time SMX champion. But I don't know. It's gonna be tight. Obviously, come down to the end of the season. Morgan's Morgan in these cars. You know how it is. He's one of the toughest to beat. It's why this series is so competitive, is because of people like Morgan and Beans. I mean, it's why it's so competitive, but it's also why it's so hard to win races, let alone championships and back-to-back. So who knows? Very long-winded answer to your question, but I'll start taking a look at the points come 2 or 3 races left, and that's when crunch time really happens on the numbers. So we'll see, and just keep doing what we can and scoring the points we can as we move forward.
Thanks, Camden. Appreciate your time. Nice job tonight.
Yep, thank you.
All right, let's move on now to Morgan Burkhardt, the race 1 winner tonight by the slightest of margins. It was in the thousands. Morgan, a good night, first and a second. Good for the points. I don't know if you're planning on running the whole rest of the season or not. That was the question we just posed to Camden, is who he thinks the biggest threat is to his returning title fight. But tell me about Homestead. This was a fun one tonight, but the elbows definitely were out.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny you mention championship, because I didn't put all my cards on the table. My goal is to make Camden Hibbett finish as far down the order as possible. I'm 80 points behind. I outscored him by 10, which is almost enough. If you do the math right, you got 5 races left. Need to outscore him by 16 points per round to tie it, and then I win it based off of wins. So if we keep having events like this where I can lead and go out and win the race, and have him be 3rd to 4th, it'll be good. I would love if he could finish 6th to 7th, 8th even once. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I'm planning to do the rest of the season. I had surgery a couple weeks ago and had all the IMSA stuff this year, so it's been a little bit touch and go. But yeah, that's the goal, is to just cause chaos, cause mayhem, and get as many people in the fight as possible, and hopefully throw Camden down the order while keeping myself up top.
Well, chaos is a great way to describe the racing tonight. This layout with the fast banking in NASCAR 3 and 4, do you prefer this over the chicane at the tail end of the lap for that reason?
I do, because you're never going to have a race here where at 1 or 2 laps you're coming around the banking 3 and 4 wide, not really sure how you're going to survive, and that's fun. That's really, really enjoyable. The other section with the stupid chicane, I'm not a fan of, because the slowdown's really bad there, and you come clattering back onto the banking, which just feels wrong. So I much prefer the banking, because then you get these ridiculous, is the only way to describe it, 3 wide going into turn 1, millimeters away from the wall. I think it's awesome, and I'm sure it looked incredible from broadcast as well.
It was a fun one for sure. Morgan, thanks for your time as always. Congratulations on the win in the second, and we'll see you next time.
See you next week.
Thanks. All right, looking down, who else we got? Carson Neal, I think, ended up, where was he? 6th and 7th, and then we've got Hayden Manis, and Manis was 5th and 6th here. So I think it wraps up our podium results. Let's bring in Carson Neal, though, and chat with him real quick. Carson, I know you weren't on the podium tonight, but it felt like you should have been. Take us through your evening. Kind of got a little bit of contact here and there, not of your own doing. What'd you need tonight to finish a little higher up the order? Oh, did I lose him? Oh. Well, I tried. maybe didn't want to be chatted. Did I actually drag him in there, Finney? Did you see that?
I did not see. If you want,
let's try one more time. Hey, Carson, you got a copy?
I got you.
Hey, man. Sorry, I thought I dragged you in, but I must have failed. I wanted to chat with you briefly. I know you weren't on the podium tonight, but it felt like you should have been. There was a couple times tonight that you got kind of uprooted out of your spot. Take me through your evening here, and is there anything you could have done different, you think, to avoid that calamity and climb up the order a little higher?
Yeah, I feel like being a little bit more patient in the first heat whenever I got tapped going into a long sweeper. I feel like I could have gone a little bit more not aggressive, but I mean, it's the best I could do coming back from, I think, 11th up to about 7th. And then second race, we did another tap, but being able to go from 20th to 6th in 14 minutes, I feel like that's a really good thing that I was able to accomplish this weekend. I mean, just being a little bit less aggressive into starts probably could have helped me not get spun out, but I mean, it's the best we could do this time, and had a really good comeback from last all the way up to 6th.
Yeah, it was a good night for you, though, regardless. Some good points on the board. And, again, I think the momentum is going the right direction for you. The pace is certainly there, Carson. Just wanted to chat with you after that. And congratulations on a good night despite those calamities. So good job, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks. All right, Finney, wrapping things up here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Oh boy, it's always fun, but we're looking forward to the rest of the calendar. We head to Barber Motorsports Park next week. That is another racetrack that's sort of almost the polar opposite of this one. A lot of flowing, high-speed banked corners, but you don't have a lot of passing opportunities.
Yeah, those are going to come at a premium, and typically that makes drivers get a little bit more creative. Maybe more ways than one, and maybe more than the admins would typically like, but definitely lets the drivers get out there and prove what they're worth, and we definitely saw that tonight at Homestead-Miami. These guys really get out there, scrap for position. It was fantastic to watch.
That'll do it here for the FSS SMX Series, round number 10 from Homestead-Miami Speedway. Look forward to having Greg Kramer back next week. Not that I don't like the opinion, but good to have Greg back. And we'll see everyone next time. From Barber Motorsports Park, Kyle Heyer and Finney DeCuna. We'll see you next time.